What's up, guys? Welcome to my video. So in this video I'll be talking about how to paint a landscape from a photograph. And this landscape is going to be a 36 by 24 inch canvas. And photograph I got was from this stock photo that I got from the internet. And so with this painting I want to do a mountain type of landscape, which I really haven't done before in a while. I usually paint a lot of forests in like a warmer climate, so to speak. But anyways, with this painting I decided to do a overcast type of environment where there's clouds, there's no sunlight, and where the light's going to be primarily generated from within the painting. So with this painting I'm going to be starting off painting the backgrounds. As always, if you see my other videos, I start off painting the backgrounds pretty bland colors, like a lot of grays, dull colors, blues. As you can see here, a lot of dull greens that kind of merge with the background, especially with the mountains where I start off painting a lot of the grays, which I'll be adding layers upon layers later on, which I do with everything else. And so with this painting, the colors of the lake are pretty unconventional. It's this brown type of lake. You can kind of see through it too. You can kind of see some of the rocks that'll be painted there eventually. And this is the type of a winter landscape that I wanted to do too. And so it's kind of a break from my traditional paintings that I've done with traditional landscapes, with the forest, with like more of the different varieties of trees. But this one's primarily a lot of pine trees, a lot of coniferous types of trees. So the challenge was in this painting was to make the trees stand out individually, because a lot of the trees look the same. So I wanted to make each tree unique and just make it look better and make it kind of set apart from the other ones. And so, as always, I layer up the colors, the shadows on there. I begin with the lighter, duller backgrounds for the trees, like these light grayish green tones that you see. And then I'm starting to add the darker colors for the shadows and the textures. So I'm bouncing around all over the place again, like I always do with my paintings. I'm kind of everywhere, putting some textures on the mountains, the textures on the trees in the backgrounds. And these textures, they're just one layer of many layers that I put on there. So when I put these darker layers in the trees and in the mountains, I'll be eventually going back and adding more layers of the lighter colors. And I add more variety too. Like, I don't just stick with one color when it comes to painting anything, because when you have a variety of colors in each and every subject, it helps trick the viewer into thinking that it's more realistic than it actually is for a painting. And so when I add these layers on the trees, for example, I used various shades of green, slightly in a different part of the spectrum. I don't go like completely different, but just slightly different enough to give it some variety so it doesn't draw too much attention. So, and that's the thing about painting landscapes, realistic landscapes. You don't want to paint something that's too vivid, that draws too much attention, but everything is pretty well balanced out. And so that's what I'm doing over here. I'm painting still pretty uniform types of colors, you know, like the dull, dark, grayish types of colors on there. But that's just another layer again. And so I'll be going back on there to add more of the brighter, more vivid colors later on when I start to refine the painting more. And so when I'm on the mountains here, I'm adding more layers on there. As you can see, I'm starting to add more variety on there. A little bit of blues, some grayish blues, some of the greenish blues too. I actually used a little bit of the green colors in this painting in the mountains to add the variety on there, like a little bit of the teal. And so I actually ended up making a little bit of a mistake on the mountains, in which I wanted to go back and redo them on the left side, as you saw me go over them again. And so on the lake, what I learned about painting water also is that the more variety of colors you have, especially in the water, the better the ripples in the reflections it's going to look. Just the waves and ripples are going to look a lot more realistic if you have more variety in the colors on there. So with the water, I made sure that the water is as dark as possible to begin with, so that way it'll bring out the ripples even more. And so I'm going back and forth, back and forth. And the rocks, it's details and layers on there, but in a much more precise manner with the rocks, especially because when it comes to capturing the rocks, it's really important to capture all that the graininess in there, and making sure that you can kind of see the fine grainy textures in the rocks. And so I pretty much zoomed in on the rocks and enhanced all that detail on there, the technique with the rocks as I did with the trees, but it's just more precise. It's more intensive, more painstaking labor to get all those details on the rock, especially that one on the left you see. I did a lot of work on that one. You can see the curvature on there, the arcs and the angles on there, and that's what I did with all that layering on there. That's what it's all about. It's about painting a lot of layers on there, layering the colors properly, and being patient with it, because you got to trust the process. I mean, the painting's not going to look good initially. You got to trust that what you're doing is the right thing you're doing, and a little bit of inspiration helps with that too. Just that trust that it'll turn out good, and that all that hard work will pay off in the end. And so you can start to see me adding the layers on there, the textures on the trees, the more vivid, brighter greens on there, and the cabin too. I took a little bit of layering on there too, and so you can see me now doing the ripples on there. Painting the ripples themselves wasn't that difficult because it's just some horizontal bars of various colors on there, and that's the easy part about painting the water. It's just the last part, the last stage of it, getting those light, bright ripple types of colors on there. But what really helps is that blended mixture of those dark browns, greens, reds, oranges in that water that I initially began with, and so it just pretty much painted itself. And so I'm adding the final details on the painting, the final textures everywhere, the clouds, the mists on top of the mountains on there, making sure that I don't leave any mistakes behind before I showcase this painting. So once again, guys, thank you for watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.